Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you've been following along, you know that my Torana rebuild is now well underway. But today's episode is going to be a little bit less on the repairs and more on the vision moving forward. I'm going to be revealing my 3D project renders for the very first time, and trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this. We're talking custom 3D printed parts like the flares, front and rear spoilers, and some other seriously cool finishes that I think you're going to love. Plus, I'll walk you through my design process, how I go from a blank page to something you can actually start your build with. But that's not all. We're going to take a step back, dive into the origins of the whole journey, how I got into automotive design, and the story behind the render garage, which leads us to where we are today. And don't worry, we've also got a quick little update on the Torana's progress. So whether you're here for the project renders, the backstory, or just the build updates, this episode has something for everyone. So let's get into it. Before we dive into my backstory, quick update on the Torana. So Dale's continued to pull everything apart. The couple of new parts we've got is starting to go back on, but there's probably a big leap before the next video. So I thought we'll wait until he's got a big chunk of work done, and then we'll go back down there and step through everything he's been working on. But the car's coming along really good, and I'm really excited to create that next video and show you what's in store. All right, now let's rewind and talk about how I ended up here, and for new viewers, what the render garage is all about. So what is the render garage? Simply put, it's where classic cars and cutting edge design collide. I help people visualize their dream builds in 3D before they even pick up a spanner. Think of it as the ultimate planning tool for your next project car. But how did I get here? Well, let's go way back. I've been obsessed with cars and car design for as long as I can remember. In high school, I was that kid who spent every spare moment drawing cars, designing logos, and just soaking up car culture. Teachers would tell me, you'll never get a job just working on cars. But I didn't care. Cars were my passion, and I wasn't going to let that go. I ended up studying design at university, focusing on graphic design, or communication design as they call it these days. Gave me a solid foundation in design principles, which I always managed to find a way to bring back to cars. While I was actually still at uni, I landed my first gig, writing articles and snapping photos for Street Machine magazine. That's where everything started to change. Through Street Machine, I got to write an article on a guy named Wayne Trigard, or Trigger as he's known in the industry. At the time, Wayne was handling the marketing for Holden after-sales brands like Holden Genuine Parts and AC Delco. He was just about to retire, but when he found out that I was a graphic designer, he introduced me to Tony Sewell, the owner of The Creative Ones, a design agency that worked with Holden. That introduction changed everything. I ended up working there for the next 11 years, starting out as a graphic designer and working my way up to be general manager of the business. Working with Holden was everything I ever wanted. I got to design race car liveries, travel to SEMA and NADA in the US, and even go behind the scenes at Holden Design and the Lang Lang Proving Ground. I worked on special edition cars like the Craig Lowndes Edition Commodore, VF Sandman, and then the final edition Motorsport, Magnum, and Direct Commodores. I also got to collaborate with racing legends like Craig Lowndes, AAA Racing, and Team 18. It was an incredible time, and I owe a lot to a guy called Chris Payne who works at Holden. He played a huge role in the projects that I got to work on, and we had a lot of fun together. But as we all know, back in late 2017, Holden closed the doors to its factory and ended local manufacturing in Australia. That's when I started thinking about my next chapter. I'd seen how Holden Design had used 3D design to conceptualize ideas, and I wondered if I could bring that technology to the classic car restoration scene. I'd always admired designers like Chip Foose and Dave Kindig, but I wanted to take a step further with 3D visualization and photorealistic renders. So early 2018, I started learning the process after hours and testing the waters. To my surprise, the interest was almost immediate. So by the start of 2021, I resigned from my previous job and I went all in on the render garage. It's been an incredible journey and it's brought us to where we are today. All right, let's talk about the heart of this video, the design process. This is where it all comes together, and it's something I've been trained to do from the very start of my career. Whether it's a logo, a race car livery, full-blown custom build like this Torana, I always follow a structured process. To keep it simple, I've broken it down into 3 key steps: dream it, visualize it, and build it. Let's dive into each one, and I'll show you how I'm applying it to this project. First step is dreaming. This is all about research, inspiration, and figuring out what you want from the build. For me, I'm drawn to the OE+, Pro Touring, and Resto Mod trends, styles that blend that classic design with modern performance and technology. I'm also hugely inspired by companies like Singer and Ruffian Cars. They managed to create cars that feel authentically period correct, but are still cutting edge in terms of design and engineering. That's exactly what I want from my Torana. A build that feels timeless and something that I'll love for the rest of my life. I don't want a car that wows everyone now, but looks dated in just a few years. I want something that can evolve with me, which is why I'm focusing on flexibility. For example, I'm planning some finishes and details that can be easily updated down the track, but more on that later. A big part of my inspiration comes from the SEMA show in Las Vegas. My first trip was in 2015 with Holden, and I've been lucky enough to go back the last 2 years. SEMA is like a playground for car designers. It's where you see the latest trends, materials, and technologies all in one place. I've actually written a couple of articles for Street Machine magazine about my SEMA takeaways, including my favorite builds and design trends. If you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description. But for now, let's move on to the next step, visualize it. Once you've got your inspiration, it's time to visualize it. This is where you start turning those dreams into something tangible. For me, this process began not long after the accident. I was dealing with a lot of stress, and working on these designs became a way to focus on something positive. I was really trying to create a positive out of a negative situation. At first, I was thinking about building a nice little A9X replica, something that ticked all the boxes. As I started playing with the ideas, I realized I really wanted to go bigger. For Motor X in 2023, I created the Dream It, Visualize It, Build It poster, where I tried a heap of different color combos on the Toranas. At that stage, I didn't even know if the car would be repaired or written off. But once the insurance situation was resolved, I started creating initial renders and locked in the orange and black theme. Then came SEMA in 2023. Let's just say it filled my head with some bad ideas. That trip really opened my eyes to new directions that I should be taking with the Torana. I came back inspired by trends that I saw there, which I then incorporated into a new set of renders. But I still felt like I wanted more. As I was working on other client projects, I kept seeing new ideas and techniques that I really wanted to try on my own car. One of the biggest breakthroughs I had was designing a set of custom wheels for the car. That's actually something I'm going to go to in a future episode. So for now, I'll keep them under wraps, but I'm absolutely in love with them. And a few close friends who I have shown all feel the same way. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. By the way, if you're in the wheel business, the wheel making business, and want to collaborate on this project, reach out. We're looking for someone to help build the wheels. I really want to showcase what's actually possible out there in custom wheel manufacturing these days in Australia. Once I was happy with the design, printed out posters and lived with them for a while. This is something I always recommend to all my clients. Make your design your phone wallpaper, your desktop background on your computer, and show it to friends and family. Over time, you'll either keep loving it or notice some small tweaks that need to be made. You might actually notice I've got my poster here, and it's been in the background of the initial 2 videos as well. So if you can see it on the angle, you might get teased it, but more of that later. I'll show that to you later. I spent months being really happy with my decisions. And then I went to SEMA again last year and got even more ideas. That's the thing about design. It's always evolving, and I'm always pushing myself to learn new skills and techniques. One trend that really stood out to me over the last couple of SEMA shows was the rise of bespoke 3D designed and printed parts. Things like spoilers, intakes, splitters, and even interior components. It really got me thinking, how can I use this technology to take the Torana to the next level? So, what you've all been waiting for, let's bring up my current renders and go through the details. First up, the flares. The Torana's flared arches are iconic, but I've always wondered if they could be improved. Inspired by the Singer DLS, I decided to smooth them off and remove the exposed bolts. This gives a cleaner, yet still period correct look, while allowing me to get the car as low as possible and fit the biggest wheels that I can. Next, the front spoiler and splitter. One thing I've always hated about Torana front spoilers is this awkward join between the flare and the spoiler. So I'm designing something that integrates much better. Once the front end is all set up, all gapped up and everything, I'll 3D scan the whole area and create a spoiler that fits perfectly, eliminating those common fitment issues around the indicators and brake ducts. Now, let's talk finishes. While the classic polished chrome look is timeless, I want to try something a little bit different. At SEMA in 2023, I saw a black Mustang with brushed satin black bumpers and trim. Pete Cornish from Rapcat Customs, who was with me at SEMA, confirmed that we could do the same on my car. The best part, if I ever change my mind, I can just peel the wrap off and go back to polished chrome. It's a way of future-proofing the design. Finally, the rear spoiler. I love the notch wing look seen on top-tier Pro Touring builds in the US. The standard Torana hatchback spoiler is a great base, so I'm planning to 3D print a modified version that integrates with that style. But all that's just the beginning. I've got plenty more ideas in the works, like custom LED taillights, front indicators, and of course the custom wheels I was talking about earlier. But I'll save all those for future episodes. Now, let's talk about the final step, build it. This is where the design comes to life, and I'm really excited to start this phase of the project. Over the next few episodes, we'll dive into the physical build process. That means the 3D printing of the flares, spoiler, and other custom parts. And of course, working with Dale at Ward Paint and Fabrication to finish the repairs on the car and take it to the next stage where we can start really turning it into my vision that you've seen. This is truly where the magic starts to happen, and I can't wait to share every step of the journey with you. So what do you think? What are you most excited to see come to life? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the next episode. We'll be diving deeper into the custom parts and how we're bringing these designs to life. Until next time, go all in, build something incredible, and leave your dream. See you in the next one.